Alright, so we're going to check out 10 licks in the key of C, and they are all one measure long. And I did that so that they're easy to play, or easy-ish to play. And they all mostly land on the 1 of the chord. So I'm capo 2, but working out of C position. And they all going to land on the C note, okay? Either the low C or the high C, right? And yeah, so there's actually 13 written here, but a couple of them are very similar, just very subtle differences that I'll talk about. And many of these kind of in that Doc Watson, Norman Blake sounding style, or just bluegrass flat picking in general. Not necessarily anyone in particular. You hear Dave Rawlings do a little bit of it, or any flat picker that's out there is going to be doing some of these style of licks. And I'm pulling most of the licks from C Major Pentatonic and a couple of patterns that I can show you real quick. So if I'm at the C note right here on the B string, first fret, and so that's certainly one, position or pattern that I'm pulling some of these licks, and then from there, again, just a lot of C Major Pentatonic. And then what I'll do to add some spice is I'll add the flatted third in there as well. So C, E, G would be the triad for the C chord. So E flat. So I'm going to take that third, knock it down a half a step. That's our flatted 3. It's right here. When you play it against the E, obviously it's going to have a nice rub there, right? And it's right here on the first fret of the D as well. E flat to E. So I'm going to be using that as a color note, if you will. Again, a flatted 3, very common note or a little move here in the style of music. All, again, from this pattern. Maybe I'll have some little scale charts on the screen there, but that's where I'm pulling these licks from. And again, they're one measure long. So let's take a look at the first one there. It starts on a G note there, third fret of the high E. It sounds like this. And that sounds nice and connected, right? I have notes ringing over top of each other, that open E. All eighth notes here. So 3 on the high E, 4 on the B string, then open E. Then I got to shift down to 1 on the B, 2 on the G, open D, hammer 2, and then land on our C bass note there, third fret of the A. And what you really want to do to kind of have some fun with it is just be able to play it in a loop, all right, or to get a good handle, the timing, the feel, is with any one of these. It's just, can you play it in a circle, right? So 2, 3, 4. And I know I just have a quarter note written there in like the second measure of the lick, but I just filled it in with the strum pattern. I'm landing on the C bass note, and then I'm going to do it whatever strum pattern you may want or know the best. That is what I'm filling it in with to keep the rhythm going. You can use audio backing tracks, or a metronome. Okay, so yeah, we started on the G note, the 5 of the chord, and then I worked my way down to the low string. The next lick starts on the 4th fret of the E string, sounds like this, and it ends on that high C note, right? And also too, if for those of you that are members at the site, it's a free lesson here, if you have an account, a membership, free membership at the site, you can use Sound Slice as well to slow down and loop these loop these licks and play them at, again, you can speed them up and slow them down. Super great practice tool. I'm sure you've seen it online, so that's available at the site as well as downloading the tabs. So here, this one starts on the flatted 3, and you can use your, I'm probably going to use my 3rd finger here, so 4, slide to 5, 3 on the high E, 5 on the B, then I shift and slide down to the 3rd fret with that finger, right? Whoops. Right here, shift, and 1, 2, 0, pull on the G, then 1st fret on the B. So again, make a loop, right? Make a loop. They're just one measure long so that, you know, it kind of starts strong and ends strong, if that makes sense. Like there's not much syncopation. I have one that will have a little bit, but they start on a downbeat, they end on a downbeat, they end on a root note, so you can get a strong sense of the lick and how it might fit into other tunes, right? It's a measure long. Let's do the next one. And I am swinging them a little bit, right? So here, lick number 3, this one is I just played, you know, it's a little more chromatic-y, right? And it kind of has a little twisty-turny to it. And I got this idea and some others from working with Mickey Abraham, and he's a longtime flat picker, knows the genre and the music very well. And he gave me I took some lessons with him, and he was just talking about different ways to do some phrasing. And there's a lot. He's got a lot. But here's just a snippet right here, like that I like to use, especially the first 5 notes in particular. That little motif, if you will, you can really build upon it, and that's what I'm trying to do here. And I guess, you know, I was saying I was doing a lot of the major pentatonic. Well, right here we get really outside the box, I guess. You know, 5, sharp 5, 6, or however you want to think about it. G, G sharp, A, right? So it's all on the G string, obviously. 0, 1, 2, 1, 0. And then D string, 2nd fret, 1, open D, 3rd on the A. So we're adding the flatted 6, I guess you could say, or the sharp 5, however you want to think about it. So that one gets outside, but that has a different texture to it that I really enjoy. Next one, similar but just slightly different, easier actually. So really, just 4 8th notes there. Open, 1, 2, 1, and then here's 2 quarter notes. Open G, 3 on the B, 1 on the B. Just simple, cute. And then lick number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't have them numbered yet, but I will. So here there's a little bit of syncopation, and we can talk about ways to not have it there. I mean, these are all, you can do hundreds of variations of these licks. It's just, you know, a lot of them are just 8, 9 notes long, right? So there's a note tied in there. Starts on the 5 of the high E, 3, open, 4 on the B, that E flat, and it's tied over to the downbeat of 3. 3, and then open E, then 3rd fret B, open E, 1st fret. Just a little syncopation there. You could add a note potentially to get rid of that syncopation. I'm not sure on the fly here. What would I do? Just added another E note in there. Kind of rearranged the notes just slightly, but again, what's written, 3, 4. All right, next lick here. Another one right out of the Mickey Abram book that I like to use all the time because it's just, you know, very chromatic, obviously, but I don't know, the texture about it is something I don't hear as often. In this one, we're using all kinds of notes, right? 1, sharp 2, I guess, or sharp 1, 2, flatted 3, 3, and then we just walk it back down. Probably would use my pinky there, right there, open E. All right, lick number 7, we're going to use a little bit more of the lower register, or middle register, I guess, you know, going from the high note to the low note. Somewhat syncopated, but just a series of eighth notes essentially. So first fret B, open G, hammer 2, back to first on the B, open G, open D on the upstroke, hammer 2, open G on the upstroke, and then C note. That could be a little intro of some sorts. And then next lick. Kind of a classic. I feel like this is played and used a lot. And starts on the low string, then open D. Here's our flat 3 to the normal 3. I hammered. Open G, back to the second on the D, and then 1, 2 hammer again. Next lick. Here's where you gotta watch your left hand, just a little bit of shifting. So 1 on the B, 3, open E, 3, and I gotta shift my first finger up on the 3 of the high E. And it's on an upstroke. And then 4 on the B, open E, 3, then shift back down, 3, right here with the third finger, open E, 1. That's a tricky one. Okay, now these last 3 licks, it's essentially one lick, but done slightly different each time, okay? And by slightly, it's really only just a couple notes, or one note in this first 2 here. But this is a great one. I build a lot of the licks around this little pattern. Nothing's really changing with the note choices, but here's what it sounds like. So, okay, or I can kind of slide to it. So 5, I'll probably catch it with my pinky, although you could use your third finger as well, but 5, 3, 4 with a slight bend. So 4 on the B string. You don't have to put the bend in there. I just do it for a little bit more of an effect, right? A little more sauce. Then open E. Shift down to 1 on the B. 0, 2 hammer on the G. Open G again. Then first fret. I slide into it. The next lick is exactly the same except for the very last note. So I'm ending essentially here this now flatted 7. The 7th note is B. I flat it and it becomes B flat. Sorry, that was a mouthful. But B flat, it's a C7 chord now. All that to say C7. And it just gives a different tonality, and actually kind of tells the listener that we're going to the 4 chord. Can I play all 3 of them if I want? Okay, I like that. And then the last one, I'm taking that same lick, but I'm going to end on the low register here. Just kind of walk it down to the low C note. So there's the, 10 to 13 licks, however you want to think about it. Very useful in the key of C, 1 measure long, should be obtainable to get your hands on many of them. And again, if you're a free member, you can download the tabs and access SoundSlice so you can kind of loop these and slow these down if needed. So yeah, join the membership, and I'll see you in the next one.